You felt it, didn't you? That exact second when someone you haven't thought about in a long time suddenly crossed your mind, out of nowhere. No trigger, no reason. And it didn't feel like a memory. It felt alive. Here's the part you can't ignore: that wasn't random. Because at that exact moment, they were thinking about you too. Not casually. Not just, oh, I remember them. Double quotes. No. Something pulled your name back into their mind hard enough that it reached you. And you tried to brush it off. You told yourself it's just nostalgia. Just another late night thought. But then it happened again. A song. A random moment of silence. And suddenly, them. Clear. Close. Uncomfortably real. This isn't new, Cancer. This feeling has history. It carries something unfinished. Something that didn't end. It just stopped. Because what you had with them, it wasn't light. It wasn't surface level. You didn't just pass through each other's lives, you left marks. You were the one who understood without needing explanations, the one who saw through their masks, the one who stayed, even when it became hard. And they knew that. Even back then, they just didn't know what to do with it. So they chose distance, not because they didn't care, but because feeling that much scared them. And here's the truth they never told you: they tried to replace you. They met other people, had other conversations, laughed in different ways, but something never clicked the same. Because no one saw them the way you did. And now, that's exactly what's coming back to them. Not the easy memories, the real ones, the quiet moments, the things they didn't appreciate when they were happening. There's a night they keep replaying, a conversation they didn't take seriously enough, something you said that only makes sense to them now. And it's hitting them differently. Heavier. Clearer. Too late to ignore. Because now they understand something they avoided before. You weren't just someone. You were a turning point. And they walked away from it. That realization doesn't feel light. It doesn't feel nostalgic. It feels like pressure. Like something building under the surface. And the more they try to distract themselves, the louder it becomes. There was a moment recently they almost reached out, typed your name, opened your profile, stared at it longer than they expected, and then stopped. Not because they didn't want to, but because they didn't know how to come back. Because what do you say to someone you know you lost? And that's where everything starts to shift. Because this isn't just memory anymore, this is movement. You've probably noticed it, that strange emotional wave that comes out of nowhere, that dream that felt too detailed. Too specific. Like it wasn't just your imagination. Because it wasn't. You're picking up on something real, something active. While you were healing, they were avoiding. While you were processing, they were postponing. And now, it's catching up to them, all at once. That's why it feels so intense. Because the timing flipped. You already went through the. You already sat with the silence. You already faced the questions. But they didn't. Not fully. And now they are. They're asking themselves things they used to avoid. Why does this still matter? Why can't I let this go? Why do I still think about them like this? And the answer is simple, even if they don't want to admit it, because you were real. Not convenient. Not temporary. Not replaceable, real. And real connections don't disappear. They wait. And right now, this one is waking up. But here's where it becomes different for you. Because you're not in the same place anymore. Back then, you might have waited, hoped they'd realize, hoped they'd come back. But now, you don't need that. You changed. Quietly. Deeply. In ways they haven't even seen yet. And that creates something new, a distance they can feel, even before reaching you. Because now, if they come back, they won't be meeting the same version of you. And they know it. That's why there's hesitation. That's why they're thinking so much before acting. Because this time, they can't just walk in like nothing happened. This time, they might lose you for real. And that thought, it's heavier than they expected. So now you're standing in between two realities, the past that's trying to return, and the version of you that has already moved forward. And you feel both. At the same time. That's why it's confusing. That's why it feels like something is pulling at you, even when you're not trying to go back. Because this isn't just about memory. This is about connection. Reactivating. And this part is important. This isn't. Not after this much time. Not after this much distance. Something aligned. Something shifted. And now it's bringing this back to the surface. But don't rush to conclusions yet, because what you're feeling right now is only the beginning. The first signal, the first crack in something that was buried. And very soon, this won't stay internal, because they're getting closer to a decision. And when they make it, you won't have to wonder anymore. And when it reaches you, it won't feel like a surprise. Not really. It will feel like something you've been sensing for a while, finally becoming real. Because this connection, it never ended cleanly. It stretched. It went quiet. It hid itself in the background of your life, but it never disappeared. And now, it's pulling itself back into your reality, slowly, inevitably. You'll try to stay logical. You'll tell yourself, too much time has passed, I'm not that person anymore, I've already moved on. And you're right. You have changed, you're stronger now. Clearer. Less willing to accept confusion, disguised as love. But here's what you can't fully control. Your heart didn't erase them. It transformed what you felt. It made it quieter, deeper, harder to ignore when it returns. And they are getting closer, not loudly. Not dramatically. But step by step. After nights of overthinking. After moments where your name crosses their mind and stays there longer than it should. After they finally admit something to themselves they avoided for a long time. They lost something real. But here's where it becomes complicated, because timing isn't on their side anymore. They might reach out at the worst possible moment, when you've finally stopped waiting, when your life feels calmer, when you've just started feeling like you don't need answers anymore. And that's when it happens. Your phone lights up, a name you haven't seen in a long time. You freeze, just for a second. You already know who it is, before you even look. And when you do, your chest tightens. Not from pain. Not from joy, but from recognition. Because this is real now. Not a thought, not a feeling, not a memory. Them. And in that moment, time does something strange. It slows down inside you. Part of you stays completely calm, grounded, untouchable. But another part, the part you thought was already closed, quietly wakes up. And this is the truth no one talks about. Part of you might still want them. Not the past, not the pain, not the confusion, but them. And that's where the real tension begins. Because now you're not just observing this situation, you're inside it. Again. They won't come back. They won't have perfect words. They won't know exactly how to fix what was broken. Because facing you again means facing who they were when they lost you. And they feel that. Before they even speak, before they even press send, there's hesitation in them, wait, uncertainty. Because this time, they don't know if you'll still be there. And when you finally read their message, don't focus on the words first, feel it. The pauses between sentences, the way they're trying to sound normal, while something underneath is clearly not. You'll notice it instantly, because you see deeper than surface. You always did. And everything inside you will ask one question, is this still mine? Or is this where it finally ends? This moment, this exact moment, is what everything has been leading to. Not their return. Your decision. Because this story was never just about them missing you. It was about what that absence turned you into. Back then, you might have waited. Hoped. Tried to understand, tried to hold on. But now, you don't chase clarity, your clarity. And that changes the entire dynamic. Because now they are the one searching, they are the one trying to understand, they are the one feeling the distance between who they were and who they needed to be to keep you. And that realization, it hits harder than they expected. Because now they see you clearly, your strength, your depth. The way you don't bend just to keep someone. And for the first time they understand, you were never too much, you were just too real for where they were at that time. And regret, it doesn't explode. It builds, quietly, persistently, in the spaces between their thoughts. In the things they wish they could redo. In the silence after they send that message. But this isn't about proving anything. This isn't about making them feel it. This is about alignment. Do they meet you where you are now? Or do they still carry the same patterns, just hidden behind better words? Because missing you is not the same as being ready for you. And you will feel that difference immediately. In their tone. In their energy. In what they say and what they avoid saying. And this time, you won't ignore it. Because you've learned, You've changed, you've rebuilt yourself without them. So now you don't respond to potential. You respond to truth. If they come back with depth, you'll feel it. Naturally. Without effort. But if they come back incomplete, still unsure, still unable to meet you fully, you'll feel that too. Just as clearly. And this time, you won't stay out of hope. Out of memory. Out of who they used to be. Because you understand something now. Closure was never in their hands. It was always yours. And this moment, this message, this return is simply giving you the choice. Not to go back, but to decide, does this still belong in your life? They miss you, that's real. That's already happening. But that's their story. Yours is what you do next. Do you open the door again? Carefully. Slowly. With new boundaries. Or do you close it, not with pain but with peace? Because either way, this ends differently now. There is no version of this where you lose yourself again. Only one where you choose yourself. And when you look at that message one more time, before you respond, you won't be asking, do they still matter? You'll ask something much deeper, something final. Do they still align with who I've become? And in that moment you'll know. Because this time, Cancer, you're not waiting anymore. You're deciding.